So fake Pokemon cards are everywhere, but this is your Surging Sparks reference guide. I'll show you 4K close-ups of every illustration rare and special illustration rare in the set so that you can compare your cards against mine. This will include the texture, the finish, the shine, all the details that you'll need to check before you buy or trade. Bookmark this video so that you can pause anytime and line your cards up with mine. For your convenience, all the cards have been timestamped, so let's get into it. Right, so who wants some fried eggs? Because these guys are in a matte finish, rest of the card is shiny. Before I continue, there's one golden rule that I want to mention. Always check and compare the fonts, as this is a very common mistake that fake cards have. I will remind you of this throughout the video. So we have Vivillon here, who's chilling out on a tree. Both of these are in a matte finish, rest of the card is shiny. This card's kind of creepy, but pay attention to the purple part of the mushroom. This is in a matte finish. Its face and whole body is also matte finish. However, the green parts of the mushroom is shiny like the rest of the card. This card looks so free and relaxing. Pay attention to the 4 Pokemons, they're all in a matte finish. Rest of the card is shiny, with the blue parts being extra shiny in the light. The green and brown bits of land look a bit more dull in comparison. So Larvesta here is having a nap on his pillow. Both of these are in a matte finish. Rest of the card is shiny. Right, I wouldn't mess with this one. He looks like he's ready to fight. Anyways, the ground like standing on, the vegetation in the left and right hand corner are in a matte finish. Rest of the card is shiny, including the eyes on the Pokemon. Poor Feebas. He looks as if he's about to get eaten. In this card, he's in a matte finish. Under the light, the top half of the card looks really shiny compared to the bottom. In fact, the bottom part of the card looks really dull and doesn't seem to shine at all. I'm sure Spheal is just a marrow without a long tail, but him and his gang are in a matte finish. Rest of the card is really shiny. Bruxish has lip fillers and is also in a matte finish. Rest of the card is shiny, including his eyes. With this card, the white parts on the eyes caps are in a matte finish. Rest of the card is really shiny. Pay attention to the white because it really stands out under light. Stunfisk does not look happy at all. However, pay attention to him and the shell behind. These are in a matte finish. Rest of the card is quite shiny. For such a nice card, it's actually very simple. Latios is in a matte finish, rest of the card is just shiny. So once again, for such a nice card, this one is quite simple. So the Pokemon is in a matte finish, rest of the card is shiny. So Phanpy and the Pokemons to the left and right of it are in a matte finish. Do notice that the shadows are also a bit dull. Rest of the card is shiny in comparison. With this card, the Pokemon, the branch it's sitting on, the leaves above and the bottom are in a matte finish. Rest of the card is shiny. All the Clobbopus are in a matte finish, but take notice of the eyes on the big one. Its eyes are shiny like the rest of the card. So here we have the 3 Poo with hair. They're all in a matte finish, but notice that their eyes have a little shiny tint to them as well. Rest of the card is shiny. So Skarmory itself is in a matte finish. Rest of the card is shiny, but also take notice of its eyes. It's also shiny like the background. Flapple is in a matte finish. Its eyes are shiny like the background. Also, the tree that it sat on is a bit dull, but has a little shine to it at the same time. So Appletun is mostly in a matte finish, except its eyes, which is shiny like the background and rest of the card. In this card, only Slakoth is in a matte finish. Also notice the shiny little tint in its eyes. Rest of the card is just shiny. So this card is vibrant and full of colours, however, only the Pokemon is in a matte finish. Its eyes is shiny like the rest of the background. So only the bird itself is in a matte finish, its eyes are also shiny like the rest of the card. So this Durant is the first card in the set that has directional texture and shiny outlines. Notice that its eyes are also gloss. So this card actually has a lot of directional texture on the Pokemon on the background itself. There's also a shiny outline on the Pokemon's features. Also note that both sets of eyes are gloss. With this card, expect a lot of directional texture on the Pokemon, the background, and shiny outlines around the Pokemon's features. But also, the black lines around the scales are very glossy. So this card has a lot of directional texture and shiny outlines around the features of the Pokemon. Under light, the details on this card are very vibrant, they stand out like a sore thumb. This Pikachu card has a lot of directional texture going on. Also, it has shiny outlines around the diamonds and gems on his head, which stand out especially under the light. Pikachu has a shiny outline too. Its eyes are also glossy. Right, so here's your second reminder. Check the font, because the font is one of the most common mistakes that fake cards have. This Latias card is very simple. It has directional texture on the Pokemon, in the background, but also notice the eyes on the Latias is gloss. So this card has directional texture, but notice that the rainbow shiny outlines on everything stands out really strong and vibrant under light. The Pokemon itself also has a shiny outline, and the elemental symbols are also textured. So with this card, pay attention to the directional texture, the rainbow shiny outlines, which is very vibrant under light. The Pokemon itself also has a shiny outline too, but notice that the red eye itself is especially shiny. The details for this card are pretty standard. It has directional texture, rainbow shiny outlines on everything that stand out really vibrant and strong under light. The Pokemon itself also has a shiny outline. So I've always thought this Pokemon looks like a Transformer, but anyhow, it has directional texture and shiny outlines around its features. Right, so it's our favourite coconut tree again. This card has a lot of directional texture, vibrant rainbow shiny outlines on everything. Its eyes though are glossy. Right, so the Tatsugiri has a lot of directional texture. The rainbow shiny outlines on everything stand out really strong and vibrant under light. Also notice the eyes on the Tatsugiri are especially sharp and glossy. So slaking or slacking, because that's what it looks like he's doing, has some very simple directional texture, shiny outlines around the features and white glossy eyes. So like the other cards with a very similar design, this card also has directional texture. The rainbow shiny outlines on everything stand out very vibrant and strong under light, but notice that the black and white eyes are glossy. So to start with, Clement's glasses are glossy. He also has directional texture. Also notice the white parts on the left tentacle look like they're matte, but it's actually textured. Notice the black shiny outlines around the features as well. So this one's quite simple. There's directional texture everywhere and his eyes are glossy. So this character, she looks like she's in a matte finish, but if you look carefully, she's actually textured except her face, neck and hands. Also notice the shiny black outlines around the features. Drayton's eyes are glossy. He has a lot of directional texture. The white teeth on his coat also looks like a matte finish, but it's actually textured. Also notice the shiny black outlines around the features. So Jasmine's face is matte finished, both hands are also matte, her eyes are glossy and there's directional texture everywhere. So with Licia, besides all the directional texture everywhere, her face, hands, arms, stomach and legs are a matte finish. Also notice that her eyes are glossy. So the Surf has a lot of directional texture everywhere, his eyes are glossy. The tooth necklace that he wears looks like a matte finish, but if you look carefully, it's actually textured. But his 3 fingers are a matte finish though. So notice that the black on all the Durants are very bold, glossy, and they stand out very vibrant under light. Also, the card has a lot of directional texture everywhere. So with Milotic, besides the directional texture everywhere, the eyes are very shiny red. The black outlines on its scales are very glossy and bold. They stand out very vibrant under light. So it goes without saying, this card has a lot of directional texture. But also notice that Pikachu's eyes are very shiny. Under light, you can see the rainbow colours in its eyes at certain angles. The crystals on its head looks dull, but it's got some fine texture if you look carefully. So with Latias, look at his eyes. It's red and shiny, but the white bit is actually gloss. The top part of the card, where the sky is more vibrant compared to the rest of the background. Also, there's directional texture everywhere. So with Hydreigon, its eyes are shiny with a little fine texture on them. Also take notice of the little white star on the left, which is gloss. The other coloured stars are just standard shiny holofoil. Also, the directional texture is everywhere. Right, so here's your reminder, check the fonts, because the fonts is a very common mistake in fake cards. So besides the directional texture, the colours on the Pokemon and the rocks around it are very dark and bold. Under light, they stand out compared to the rest of the background, which is shiny and vibrant. Also, its eyes are bright like the background. So with this one, take notice of the glossy eyes on all 3 heads. The big blue crystal on its head next to the blue star also has a tint of gloss. Of course, this card has a lot of directional texture as well. So this card has some directional texture. Clement's face is a matte finish and his eyes and glasses are glossy. Under the light, the character and the thing that he's fixing appears dull compared to the vibrant background. So this card has some nice simple directional texture. Drayton's face and neck are a matte finish, his eyes are glossy. The white buildings behind appear brighter under light, making Drayton and the rest of the objects stand out. So Jasmine has some directional texture, her eyes are glossy and the rest of her looks rather dull. But this makes her stand out against the brighter background. So besides the directional texture, Licia and Altaria's eyes are both glossy. Both of them look very bold and dark compared to the rest of the background. Licia's face and hands are in a matte finish. Pikachu's eyes are glossy and he has a directional texture. The multicoloured outlines around the features look very shiny and vibrant. Pikachu does stand out and the background looks dull in comparison. Exeggutor has thick rainbow outlines around its features which are very vibrant. The stars on the left and right hand side are also very shiny like the outlines. He has glossy eyes, and always look at the directional texture. The gold outlines around this watch really stand out. It makes the black and white parts and the golden arrows look like a matte finish, but if you look carefully, it's actually textured. Every object in this card has a shiny gold outline, but because the colours are dark, you need to look closer for the texture. Also, the little Pokemon on the tree log, its eyes are glossy. So this card has some nice directional texture. The golden outlines really outshine the white parts of the stretcher, making it look dull. Look closer and you'll see that it's got some very fine texture to it. So this card has some nice contrast to it. So the energy ball itself and the stars are a nice glossy finish. Everything else is textured. Save this guide for your next trade or your next purchase. Also subscribe for more reference videos like this. Right guys, so stay sharp, stay safe and happy collecting. I'll see you next time.